Good morning and welcome to ASI's Tuesday Morning Show, where ASI's most outspoken editors talk promo products. I'm Melinda Lagos, editor-in-chief of, what am I editor-in-chief of? ASI's
bunch of
magazine.
stuff.
How about that? A bunch of stuff. We just survived an Arctic blast here in Trevose. I think Andy's looking confused.
It was just 60 degrees yesterday.
Yeah, and then it dropped and there was an ice storm last night, but perhaps that didn't happen in Tuckahoe, New York.
It rained. I didn't get the ice.
Anyway.
I got sick, though. But I'll tell you what, I'm sick, but I'm here.
You're
You're
here,
sick of the
albeit
Jets.
a little cranky.
Not
perhaps
everybody,
because
not everybody who's sick shows up to the appointments that they normally have. That's all I'm saying.
Andy's cranky.
He's a little cranky because the Jets scored like 1 point. Was it last
like
night?
what?
Didn't they?
Maybe three.
Maybe 3.
Moving on
anyway.
to the next topic.
Moving on. All right. So we've got a great show for you today. Unfortunately, one of our segments, we were going to have Lori Greiner from Shark Tank on the show today, and she's not able to make it, but we're going to be rescheduling her with her very soon. She, of course, is going to be a keynoter at ASI Dallas and is going to give us some great tips there on how to be a better entrepreneur. But guess what, guys? This is very exciting.
What?
We have a new special guest in the room today. In the flesh, we have Nate.
In the flesh?
Well, he's in the
I am in the flesh.
What
He
else?
gets a sound
I don't know.
effect.
That was a little
Was he
weird.
a hologram?
No, he's just here.
Live in the flesh.
Live
Have
and
you
in
ever
living
heard it?
color.
I do appreciate the sound effect.
Anyway, we have Nate Kuzma. He's our director of research here at ASI. He has all kinds of research. Anything you want to know about the industry and research, give him a call.
Give him a
on
call.
his personal line, and he'll be happy to help you. Right, Nate?
Can we put
Absolutely.
his cell phone number up?
Anyway, we're going to get right into it. Nate recently did our annual corporate gifts survey, which talks about how much end buyers are spending on corporate gifts this year. So, Nate, is it good news or bad news?
It is
for
good
the
news,
industry?
and I would say it probably points to where the economy is going. It's, if the words would be used cautiously optimistic, that's probably what I would say.
Okay.
The study was conducted back in the Q3 and Q4 of this year amongst corporate end buyers. So this was all about end buyers. And what we saw was, when we asked the end buyers whether or not they were planning to give out gifts this year to employees or customers and prospects, overwhelmingly yes. 62% said yes, but of the other 38%, it was split evenly between those who said no and those who said at that time they were still deciding. So there was still some uncertainty, and I think that still might be playing out now where companies are still trying to figure out what it is they're going to
So
do.
is that about the same percentage as last year?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so so the majority of people are giving gifts to employees, clients, and prospects.
That's absolutely correct. And, as far as our industry goes, some of the good news is that most of the gifts, the large majority, 68% of the gifts that are being given out, are going to have the company's logo on it. So that's a number that we've actually seen maintain at a very high level from previous years.
That's great.
And four to 10 companies say every gift they give out this year is going to have their logo on it.
4 to 10. Okay.
Yep. When you ask them, and this is when you're thinking about what types of attributes, if you're selling these to end buyers, what are they really looking for? Looking for a couple things. First and foremost, they're looking to make sure that the products are attractive. Whether they're giving them to employees, whether they're giving them to customers or prospects, they want them to look good. They also want them to last.
Mm-hmm.
They can't be something that they're going to get and then throw away a week later. They want it to last because they want to make it to have as many impressions as possible. And as
Sure, if you're going to have your logo on something, you want people to keep it.
Yep, and as we've seen from the ad impression study, if you're giving out products that can be used in the office, for instance, those get looked at every single day if they're on somebody's desk. So that's why it has to last.
Sure.
When you look at the amount of money that they're looking to spend, this is where you get a little bit of a change. And we've actually seen the overall spending. Most employers, most end buyers are planning to spend about the same over the course of 2014 compared to 2013. But where you do see a change is they are spending on average more per recipient. So they're becoming a little bit more selective with the gifts they're
They're
giving.
giving less gifts, but they're giving nicer gifts.
They're giving less gifts, but they're giving nicer gifts. And I think that speaks to what we just saw about what they're most interested in, which is the attractiveness, the durability of the utility of the product. They don't want just throwaway gifts. They want it, it's starting to move into a nicer phase where if they're giving them out to customers and prospects, what they're doing is they're not sending them out to their entire list.
Sure.
They may be sending them out to their most important ones, or the ones that they're really trying to court the heaviest.
It seems like a good strategy. So how much are they spending per per recipient?
It depends. For the employees, they're spending $64 per average employee gift. Now that can include
That's great.
everything from what we spoke about, the traditional promotional products, all the way through to cash bonuses.
Okay.
When you look at what they're spending for customers and prospects, that's where you see it's at $43. So I know that
Still a pretty high number.
it is, and that's actually up about $5 from the prior year.
Okay.
So even though the vast majority of them are planning to spend about the same amount per year, they are spending more per recipient.
Sure. And what types of gifts are they giving clients and prospects? That's going to be different than employees, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, what they're giving to employees is the number one gift is gift cards, followed by food, or wine. Let's be honest here. But number three
I'll
on
take some of that.
sure you will. Number three on that list, though, is apparel, and that's where you start to see some of the areas that especially fit our industry coming in. So apparel, or number five is desk accessories, followed by drinkware. So those are what they're looking. Now, when you look at what they're giving to customers and prospects, this is where you see some of the specific promotional products really moving up into the top of the list. Number one is still food or beverages because, well, I mean, people in business like to drink. So that's number one. But followed by that is desk accessories, writing instruments, calendars, drinkware, all the things that you
still
would
very
expect
popular.
that you could easily put your company's logo on, where you're trying to make as many impressions on the recipient as possible.
So, guys, what do you think this means for distributors? I mean, there's still, how many shopping days left till Christmas?
I don't want to
22,
think about it.
22.
23,
There's times to
23.
get some
Oh,
last
you
minute.
can't shop on Christmas.
There's times to
22.
get some last minute orders in for clients. What message should distributors be giving?
I think one thing that's interesting out of that is the trend that we talk about on the show all the time, and it's targeted marketing. It's interesting that the corporate gift giving, that the trend of targeting, I think, has sort of filtered down to gift giving. I don't think we've necessarily seen that, but with the idea that they're spending more per item, but they're buying fewer items, it's obvious that they're targeting to their clients a little closer and
hopefully
weeding out some, obviously.
Sure.
But they're
And
targeting
maybe
their best ones.
they're recognizing their most profitable clients,
Right.
which we're always advising people to do.
Right, so I think that's an interesting trend. Don't do a one-size-fits-all type of corporate gift for the holidays. Make them a little more targeted. Make them, a little more targeted to exactly what kind of industry a client's in or the type of office that they have. If you know about their office environment, make it a little more specific to what they might want and need.
And
I
certainly,
think that's interesting.
you could pitch some higher end items based on what
Right.
Nate's saying. Joe, what are some higher end things that you're seeing distributors in the market for right now?
Well, one of the things Nate had said, desk accessories, leather desk accessories. So something nice, something that's going to spend a lot of time on a desk. We always talk about that being very valuable real estate because you're at your desk how many hours a day? You have that, desk caddy there.
And people
Use
don't
that
throw
logo
away a
all-
nice desk accessory.
No. I've had a leather desk accessory on my desk for years. 8, 9 years, and I use it all the time, and it's useful. So it's like that's constant, exposure to whoever has their logo on it. One of the things that I would say is look at packaging. Look at packaging. Nate mentions food and beverage, which are very good gifts. One, the food can be shared within an office, but if you want to really target, like Andy was saying, and you want to target some of your higher end clients, think of something like steaks. You can send steaks through the mail. Now, if you think, well, once those steaks are eaten, there's no more, logo there to see. Well, then you can always add on a gift, like a cutting board, logoed steak knife, something that's useful, that's going to stick around longer than the food. As for wine, I think wine is a great gift to give. You can have those etched bottles, and you can put any type of message you want on there. You could put your, the end buyer's logo on there, but you can upsell them also with some type of wine caddy. If people like to go to BYOB places, they've got a nice wine caddy they can take their wine with. There's a wooden wine rack in this industry. It starts as a box that you put, the bottle in, and then you can use it to store other wine bottles in a variety of configurations. One of the other things I would say is power banks. I've talked about power banks a lot this year. The thing about them is they're extremely useful. I was on a flight earlier in the year, and my phone was dying, so I didn't, want to wait to have to get to the hotel to start the charges. So while we're in flight, I plugged the power bank in. They're good in an emergency. A couple years ago, Andy, you were out of electricity for how long? 2 weeks?
A week, yeah.
A
almost 10
week.
days.
So it's difficult for Andy to stay in communication if he has no way to power up his unit. So it's good in survival kits. It's good for a travel item. It's good for students. Anyone who loves the outdoors, if they run, jog, campers, can use that as well. Because when you use different apps on your phone, it's going to drain your battery a lot sooner. So if you have one of these units, it's going to be very useful to you, and you're really going to appreciate the person who's got the logo on there. As apparel, we talked about apparel. One of the things that we noticed, a little trend that Michelle had pointed out in our office, is that the gloves with the touchscreen ability on the fingertips, with those fibers in there to be able to operate any type of touchscreen, it's a great product for people to have. But you can do it with a gift set that has a beanie and a scarf and a glove that's all matching and stuff. So.
Beanie.
A beanie, a little toque, whatever you want to call it.
I'm sorry.
That's what they call it in Canada.
Thanks, Nate. Any last-minute comments or other observations you wanted to make quickly?
No, the only thing I would say is when you're talking to the, one of the things that was mentioned earlier was about the not one size fits all. And one of the questions that we asked this year, which was whether or not they're planning to spend more on larger clients versus smaller clients when they're giving out gifts. And the answer was about half say yes. So it's not that they're looking for one thing to send out to everybody. They're looking for as Andy mentioned before, very targeted types of delivery for their gifts this year.
Okay, that's great. Well, thanks so much. That was Nate Kuzma, our research director. Joe, did you have something you wanted to add?
I did, and if distributors haven't made contact yet, they better get on that phone today and tomorrow. You're running out of time. This should be something start to think about, back in September, back in October. Get your clients thinking early, because you don't want them to run out to the mall to go to Things Remembered and have something etched and give it out as a gift. You don't want to lose that business as a distributor.
All right.
So start calling now, after the show's over, though.
All right, there you have it from Nate and Joe. All right, Andy Cohen. Email marketing. Some people say it's overused. We have news. Andy
That's
Cohen.
what I thought you were going.
Why don't you deliver the news for us?
In 60 seconds or less.
Fantastic. We
Go.
begin this morning with good news for the ad specialty market. Industry supplier sales rose by 4.7% in the third quarter of 2014. According to new ASI data, the rise in Q3 sales marks the 19th consecutive quarterly jump in supplier revenues. Over the past year, suppliers have averaged quarterly gains of just more than 5%. General economic news now. Manufacturing is a hot sector for distributors to target, according to a new report. The Institute for Supply Management's factory index for November came to 58.7, the second strongest level since April 2011. The organization's index for factory orders is also at its highest point since 2004. Top 40 distributor news now. Proforma announced that a newly established multi-million-dollar distributor firm has joined the company. Scott Dielman, Melissa Denoff, and Chuck Pearson, previously sales reps with distributor Image Builders Marketing, will now operate their company as MCS Marketing LLC, powered by Proforma. Plus, a new survey from GoDaddy shows that entrepreneurs are the happiest kind of workers today. The survey found that 82% of small business owners are happier running their current companies than when they worked for someone else in their previous jobs. And finally, make sure to check out the latest episode of The Joe Show in Promogram today. Joe, what's hot for today?
Oh, Andy, I got a sleep mask. Everyone should have a sleep mask.
I need one of those.
You need one, absolutely.
I think they're creepy.
Why?
I
What
need
does
to
it
sleep
do?
better.
You put them on and then it did like it.
You just
Blocks
immediately
out
go
all
to
the
sleep.
Go to
Like,
sleep.
what are you hiding from
I
the
need-
paparazzi?
I
Who's
need
bothering you
earplugs.
that you need a sleep mask?
No,
What is it?
Sometimes,
Wait,
Just
what?
to block out the light? What if
Yeah.
it's already
Why do
nice
you
and
need
dark in your room?
earplugs?
Because have you ever slept with
sometimes if you're
Steve?
sleeping into the morning and the sun comes up and you still want to keep sleeping.
Inquiring minds want to know, Andy.
I have not.
All
You
right.
guys missed that question.
Can't wait to see more about the sleep mask later on the Joe Show. Andy Cohen. Now we could talk about email marketing. Some people question its effectiveness, I think, because it's so often used by companies. But you've got some compelling reasons why it still works.
Indeed, email marketing is one of the most popular methods for marketing today because it's very cheap and people can do it rather easily. But as you said, people do question whether it works. But here are a few reasons to continue to do it and to still do it effectively. The first thing is that it's a good alternative to big investments in mobile. So companies, we talk a lot on this show for the past 6 months to a year about the importance of companies having mobile presence because buyers are on mobile phones these days. Well, that can also be expensive to make your website mobile friendly. So one easy way to do it is to rely on email marketing, which then tends to translate better to mobile than just your website if it's not mobile optimized. So that's one thing to certainly do. Email marketing works very well on mobile phones, and it's something that translates well. The second is it's an effective way to just keep customers informed. If you have an email newsletter, that's a great way to give customers tips on their own business, information on what you're promoting for that month or that week. But mostly use it as an informational tool, not as a sales tool. You can, advertise some of your products, some of your services, show case studies about how companies have used your products and services, and that's kind of a softer sell. But make it informational. Find out what your customers want as far as information, what they need to improve their business, and put that into your newsletter or your email marketing so it's more informational than sales related. And the last is to use email marketing to drive online traffic to other things you want people to see. So if you're trying to promote something on your website, use email marketing to push people there. Make sure that that email marketing doesn't just stand on its own, but you're actually getting people to do some other action, which is either going to your website or calling a phone number or simply submitting a online form for more information on something else. So use it to get people to do other things.
All right, great tips this morning from Andy Cohen. We're going to take a break and listen to a message from today's show sponsor, ASI Education. And when we return, Joe Haley's going to give us some good tips.
At ASI, we know that education is the key to success, so we're excited to announce our newly reimagined online learning center. Log in and test the all-new intuitive interface. Share photos, stories, and communicate with other ASI members who are learning along with you. Expand your knowledge with wikis, discussion boards, and more than 350 courses, which include valuable marketing and sales information. And for your convenience, the Online Learning Center now uses a single sign-on access like your other ASI services. Best of all, it's free. Become an industry expert and see what's new on the ASI Online Learning Center at www.asicentral.com/online-learning. I would never say that because I would think it.
We're back at ASI Radio. We were just admiring Vinny Driscoll, our
Not
one
all
our
of us.
tech guy's beards. Vinny, maybe you should go behind the camera.
Yeah, show them.
I
If
think
you
we should
like-
post a
come
picture
over
of
here.
Vinny
Let's
and have
post
a poll.
a photo
Yay
and
or
see what
nay
he looks like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's.
Vinny
on the
was
beard.
once a clean-shaven fellow, and now he's not.
Now look at him.
So we think he would fit in well in Alaska.
he looks like a hipster.
I think he looks like Dostoevsky.
I think we're. Someone liked him.
Michelle would go,
Yeah.
Yeah, Michelle, what's the problem
if
with
anybody
Vinny's
needs a
beard?
date, we'll hook you up.
Give us a call, 215-953-4979.
Yeah,
Tell us
like-
what you really think of his beard.
I didn't know this was going to turn into Match.com.
all right,
The
yeah.
Bachelor.
Anyway, Vinny's available and he's got a lot of hair. So, Joe
He's
Haley.
the opposite of Andy.
Joe Haley.
Yes.
What do successful entrepreneurs? What don't they do?
What don't they do?
These
What
are
don't
these
I
are
guess
some
the-
important things. We have a lot of entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneurs,
listening.
easy for you to say. They don't second guess themselves and their employees.
That's you don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that. You want to be confident in what you're doing. You want to be confident and kind of be confident in your employees so that they can exude that confidence. I'm having trouble talking to Melinda. They don't worry about the competitors.
Yeah.
You have to know who your competitors are, and I think competition is good because that should help drive you. But you can't sit there and worry about everything that they do. If they offer their product in green, you don't have to offer your product in green just so you can compete with them on that green color, Andy.
I agree with that. You should know what competitors are doing.
Right.
But if you're too focused on what they're doing, then you're not focused enough on your own business. Competitive intelligence is important to a point.
Sure.
But if
Surely
you,
you
if you get too
understand
focused
what
on
your what your core companies are, and you can just leverage that and not worry about others.
Exactly. And I think also people get caught up in like you just said, if they're if they have a product in green, then we must too. Be creative in your own business,
Right.
and don't worry about what everybody else is doing. If they have a good idea, they have a good idea.
Right.
Let them have their
Right.
good idea, but you can't just then model after that good idea.
Yeah.
You got to have your own.
That's true.
Well, one of the tips here is it says if you want to stay on top, think of all the ways the customers in your market aren't being served.
Yep.
And focus on solving that need.
Yeah.
So that's
true.
how you worry about your competitors. Don't obsess. I'll give you one more. Be ignorant of trends or current events. In other words,
Be
you
ignorant.
Yeah.
You should be ignorant?
No, shouldn't
Oh,
be.
you
You
shouldn't.
shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In other words, you don't want to live in such a vacuum, such a cocoon that you don't understand that current events, whether they're local, regional, international, can have an effect on business, can have an effect on your market. So you want to be, wary what's going on. Look at the stock, exchange daily, weekly at least.
On
Look
that note, there's a huge case before the Supreme Court today about
Yes.
workers' rights. It's Young versus UPS.
Yeah. And that could have a lot of tentacles and getting down to
the hell's that?
everyone. Tentacles. Those are tentacles.
Okay.
So anyway, we're going to post all these on asicentral.com/radio.
All right, great. Michelle, now is the time of year, I think, all year round you should be thanking employees. But now, of course, is a time of year when people want to give special thanks to employees, and you have some unique ways to do that today.
We do, and a lot of these are very cost effective. A lot of departments, and we've done this recently, have potlucks, especially around the holidays. Well, here's a variation of that. Hiring a local caterer, or maybe students at a culinary school to come in and cook for your team. It's often very inexpensive and just something different, and they don't have to do the work of creating the potluck food.
I like that idea.
Give the gift of time, and I know you guys spoke about this when you talked about Craig Calloway. How didn't he say, you can only give people so much money.
That's right.
Yeah,
what
it's
you can
really
give
a
them
lot
is
of
time off.
Yeah, time with their families and friends.
So this article suggests that, even if it's just extending a holiday weekend for them, or giving them, a 5-day weekend instead of a 4-day weekend if it's a holiday, little things like that, letting them leave early, a couple hours a day, can mean all the difference to somebody. Create a thank you wall. Purchase a I'm just thinking of this in editorial.
Wow, you
She's
just scoffed
editorialized
at
that.
your own advice.
Because I just pictured it in editorial. But you use one wall of your department and purchase colorful sticky notes or note cards or thank you notes, and stick them up on the wall with notes. See, Andy's
Yeah,
scowling
I
at me
just-
too. You're
I'm
not buying
just-
it,
I
Andy?
know- the whole thank you wall thing, no, I'm not into
You
it.
can leave blank notes too, where people can write special things like "Thank you, Joe, for your help
Oh
today."
God, no! Let's
See,
not
I
open
think
that
Thank
can
you,
of worms.
Michelle, for
Way
Here's my-
too cynical for
No,
this.
no. Here's my problem with that. It becomes more of an exercise in who can write more notes, or who can congratulate somebody else
For the most
best.
inane thing.
It becomes too public, and then I think loses its purpose, and that's why I don't like things like that.
I think the point is that people like to be recognized in public, and that this is a different
I
way to
agree
do
with
it.
that, and
Yeah.
I think that's important. I think that it loses some of its impact when people get more focused on the writing of the note or the thing. I haven't thanked somebody in a week. Let
Or
me
like
put
so and
a
so
note
thanked
up on
me,
the
I have
thank
to
you wall.
thank them. Blah
Right.
blah blah.
It becomes more of a show than actually meaning anything, and I think that's part of the problem.
It would not work in our department because we would lose the sticky notes and then the wall, because we lose everything. So it would not work for us.
How do you lose a
How do
wall?
you
We
lose a
would.
wall?
We would find a way.
We have lost some walls, though. You notice it. We
Yeah,
are
look at the
yeah.
wall.
We have
Okay,
fewer
Michelle, I know
walls
you have
than
some
we once
Facebook
did.
comments.
Yeah, actually,
too.
there's one more I want to mention. Make a donation to employees' favorite charities, which I think
That's
is
a
great
good
thing.
idea.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
We do have Facebook comments, and they're really good. Eric Campbell says that the key to creative employees is to, he says he feels controversial saying this, he says, but he thinks you can combine traditional giving structures with that of motivating and training opportunities to let them grow. So he's saying it's not just one-way giving, it's also giving them something that's going to help them into the career path.
I like that.
So maybe some outside of the office training. Heath DeVore says, find out what gets your employees' juices flowing. I have one employee who loves custom-made dress shirts, and his wife doesn't like him spending that kind of money on a dress shirt. If he hits certain numbers, his reward is I will get him custom-made dress shirts, whatever it takes to motivate him.
I think once
think
here
that's
at
good.
ASI, some woman wanted to reach a goal, and I think our CEO asked her what she would want if she reached a goal, and she said a puppy. Was it a puppy or a kitten? And ASI bought her a puppy.
For real?
Yeah, for real.
Pitbull.
I don't think it was a pit bull.
Or face off. No, I don't know. I'm making that up.
Anyway, but I think the better you can customize a reward,
Yeah.
it's only good.
And Danielle Lum says, and actually we just did this at our editorial retreat, to have fun contests but have unique categories. Like we did, we gave a Kim Kardashian award for the best selfie.
And
which Nicole
Kathy
Rollander
Houston
won.
won the Pollyanna Award
So no comment,
a
Andy.
For
No
crock.
comment.
for being the most cheerful employee
Andy and I
in the
both called
department.
BS on that.
But that's why you didn't win the award, because look how cranky you are.
I think to win an award like that, I guess you just have to show your bad side to only a few people.
Yes. Oh.
Okay.
And that's where Kathy Houston succeeds. She shows her Pollyanna side to most people.
Most
That's
people,
right.
and we get the.
And then others, she manages to show her angry side.
It's because I feel closer to you
Well,
guys.
And I would say she was very effective, wildly effective in doing it because she won the award.
She won the
and
vote.
No
fair
one
and
else
square.
in here won.
I would
so.
not have won that vote, and I didn't.
No.
I don't know that you even
No
got
one's
one vote
voting
on
for
that.
you and I for that. But what Danielle suggests is maybe doing something like most creative sales approach, biggest win back of a client who left the company.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. Those are great ideas.
They are.
I think it's also fun. People sort of
Sure.
enjoy the
Absolutely.
the difference that is.
You'll be
as
ribbing
opposed to-
Kathy for months on her award.
Yeah.
I don't care. I could care less what you're thinking.
Exactly.
Pollyanna.
See? How does this person win a Pollyanna award?
Joe is the department cheerleader. Yay.
All right.
Cheer hands.
Also a little strange, but I get that one.
Kathy,
Yeah.
we have a lot of listeners who work from their homes.
Right.
But not all are successful necessarily in doing that. So you have traits that you really need if you want to be successful working at home. What are they?
Well-
And you work at home a little bit.
Right.
So you can tell us if you have these traits.
Self-motivation, yes.
Okay.
Okay, successful at-home workers have an entrepreneurial spirit. Speaking of entrepreneurs, they thrive with minimal direction. I think that's totally true. I mean, Andy and I thrive with minimal direction. Good communication
out of the way.
skills. That's right.
Yeah, Andy works at home too. You have these. You have these skills.
Yeah.
Good
Let's see.
communication skills because most of your communication is going to be conducted by phone or by email. So you have to be able to communicate clearly and succinctly and get your point across because you're not face to face. Resourcefulness, when you work from home, the buck stops with you, obviously. So there's going to be many times when you're faced with a problem or issue and you need to solve it on
Well,
your
you do
own.
have a cat at home.
Snookers gives me lots of great advice.
Okay, good.
Independence, duh.
Is that actually in there?
Is that the
Duh.
You may have heard that introverts do best when working from home, while extroverts do best when working in an office, but this isn't always the case. In fact, this article makes the argument that just the opposite is true. Extroverts may be better able to stay visible within an organization when working remotely.
I agree with that, and I'm always hesitant, honestly, when an introvert works from home. I feel like the more face time they can have in the office, the better.
Right, right. And finally,
Hate on introverts.
in order to thrive,
No, I think it's just I don't hate them, but
I don't hate them.
I don't hate
you know, if you're already kind of in your
I just
shell,
have a bias
Yeah.
against
I'm not
them.
going to add it, though.
if you're at home.
I agree.
And then finally, confidence. You have to have a high degree of confidence in your skills and knowledge because there's many times you need to make decisions independent of any feedback. So
All
you're
right.
confident in your own skills.
We're going to put these traits online at asicentral.com/radio. Joe,
You.
um,
What's up?
you talked about things entrepreneurs never do. Now you're going to tell us 10 things that the best leaders never say. And I
Okay.
bet let's
see.
guess one. I'm going to say no, or it can't be done.
It's not on here.
No?
Not on here. It's not one of the ones I have circled, so.
Okay. Well, what do you have? What do you have circled, Joe?
I'm the boss. I'm the boss. You'll do it.
Unfortunately, there are leaders who don't say that, but they might mean that.
Yeah,
in
they
other
get that
ways
point
they say,
quite
that they
clearly
think.
across.
Yep.
Declaring your title implies an attitude that says, no questions, no arguments, we'll do things my way. Andrew. Failure is not an option.
That's bad.
It is, because, you know, sometimes...
Failure could be important.
They don't
Yeah.
say failure is not an option. That's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're going to squash creativity. Is
Exactly. Yeah, and sometimes you got to fail in order
Well,
to
then people aren't
succeed.
going to want to take risks if
Right.
they're so afraid of failing.
I'll do it myself.
I love that one.
You love saying that
I
one.
do.
Yeah, I know. I get stuck saying that too, unfortunately.
That's not the way we do it here, which is one of the ones that drives me nuts.
Ah,
That's terrible.
You
we've
know.
been doing it this way for 10 years.
That's
Um,
not good.
How about
All right.
this one? Don't bring me any bad news or surprises.
Oh, I got hit with that recently from someone here. I'm like, okay, I just won't tell you what's going on.
No, I mean, you have to know what's going on. Former U.S. Secretary of
don't
State
bring
Colin
me
Powell
any
told
bad
his staff, bad news isn't wine. It doesn't improve with age.
Yeah, you just got to rip the Band-Aid off and
Right.
get it over with. I totally agree with that.
Um,
well, we're
I-
going to put these online.
I have one more. Because I used to work at a company. You're lucky to have a
Stop
job here.
trying to.
You're like,
That's
yeah,
awful.
Oh, really?
That's
It's like,
awful.
man, you just be glad you got a job, Andy.
that's
Shut
terrible.
your head down.
Who
Shut up. I'm
says
the
that
boss.
though? Who says that?
I work for a guy who used to say that.
People say that.
Yeah.
People say you're lucky to have a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bad people.
Bad people.
All right.
Bad people.
We're almost out of time, and Michelle Bell is dying for our last segment, which is to talk about our favorite products of the week. Michelle, we'll let you go first.
Actually, mine is dedicated to Kathy Houston because guess
Oh,
who
God.
at this table, considering what we all do for a living, does not own an ice scraper?
Oh,
Yeah.
I found one though.
Okay. This ice scraper
She
is from
doesn't
our
have sneakers.
How do you live here and not own an ice
She
scraper?
doesn't
I
have
don't
sneakers
understand.
either.
Bay
What'd you
State
do last
Specialties
winter?
has a really great ice scraper. ASI 38980. Our friends at baystate.com. Michael Moore.
What did you do last winter?
You know what the funny thing
Like
is?
there was ice and snow
we
every
just had
day.
a
Maybe her
showcase full of
husband
ice
did it.
scrapers in Advantages magazine.
And you could have brought them home.
I could have.
Joe, what's your product?
It is the cup full of tissues. It's
Who doesn't want that?
oh, look at that sound effect. Oh, you actually put it in your car cup holder.
I like
It'll fit
that.
any
Oh, look
car,
at that.
van, truck. There's 32-ply tissues in
Uh-oh,
there.
uh-oh.
And there you go. Melinda's going to blow her nose now. This is great for cold and flu season. It's great for anyone in the medical industry. It's great for anyone in the automotive industry. You get your car detailed.
I like that.
Put that puppy
Good.
in there, Andy.
And then you
I
could
need
drink
that.
out of it
I need
after.
some tissues.
you
I'm
could.
kind of sick
You
now.
could because it's clean inside.
Thanks.
This
Andy,
is,
what's
Taking that.
Look, I have to tell
He's
them
not
who they
done.
can
Would
get
you
it
stop
from.
cutting him off?
It's available from Providence, ASI 79980. Find them online at providenceline.com.
I'm gonna
Andy,
go
what's your
quick so I don't
product?
get cut off. It's
Ah!
cold outside,
Ah!
so it's a microwave safe soup bowl that has a lock lid and an open and closed vent. Holds 4 cups of soup. Check it out online now. It's
You
from
could
AP Specialties,
drink
which
that on your
is ASI
way to work.
30208. Again, interrupting.
You could drink that on your way to work.
I could indeed.
Kathy, close us out here.
Okay, mine
Please.
is for your HR clients to help reward forward thinkers. It's a black glass and optical crystal bright idea award. It's like a optical crystal light bulb on top of black base, and it lights up at the push of a button. And it's from Norwood by Bic Graphic, ASI 74400.
All right, we are out of time. Thanks to everyone for listening today. Thanks to today's show sponsor, ASI Education. Tune in next week, same time, same place, when Andy Cohn will be full of surprises. Have a great week.